Are you guys looking to relocate outside of the US? Today, I'm going to be sharing some tips and strategies that will actually help you do it successfully. So let's get into it. Hi, my name is Keanon Slade, and I have successfully fired. That is, I have achieved financial independence and retired early, and I'm here in sunny Costa Rica. Also windy today, but yeah, I love it here. And so if you guys are on your journey, no matter if it's Costa Rica or another famous destination, then you're going to be wanting to know what you need to do. And guess what? You're in luck. I'm a life coach, and I help good guys find a great life outside of the US. And so as part of the transition, you're going to actually need to know these tips that actually will get you on your way. So let's get into it. When you're looking around to actually find your country, and after you've done the research, you've settled on the place where you're going to go, the first thing that you want to do is to actually find a home base. And this is so important because if you're in the United States, you're probably used to, okay, I'll just buy this house. I saw this beautiful house by the beach, I'll buy it. And you end up locking yourself in without really getting to know the area. And even if you visit once or twice, it's important that you actually take the time to get to know the area. For example, here in Costa Rica, there are lots of microclimates. Right now it's one temperature, and if I go like literally 3 miles away, it's gonna be a 10-degree difference. And so that may not seem much, but on hot days, it actually does mean a lot. And if you're at the beach, you're like, I'm in love with the beach. The beach is good during the times that it's supposed to be good, but there are times that it's not peak. It can be rainy, too rainy for you. It can be humid. The temperature can be hot and sweltering. And so you want to be able to be in a place long enough where you're like, okay, is this for me? You know, yes, you know, the basics, look, make sure it's safe and da-da-da-da-da. But here's some things that people seem to leave out when they are looking for a new place to home base. I want you guys to watch it to the very end because I'm putting all this together so that you can have the tools that you need to actually be able to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. The reason why I'm pressing this so much is being in another country, you see and hear and you know different expats, and the problem is that they come and they don't do it successfully. They find the beautiful house on the hill, and it really takes more to live in purpose than to get caught up with something that just sparked. The next point is you want to rent before you buy. And this is, again, important because you don't want to get yourself locked into a place. You might have a beautiful home. It might be on the beach and or whatever, or up in the mountains in my case, but you find out, hey, what I thought was going to be my after fire life is completely different. I want to have some purpose. I want to be able to do stuff. And I'm so far away, I don't even get to practice the language that, where I'm at because I can't immerse myself. I'm like the one house over here in the corner. And to get somewhere, it is an adventure. You don't want to lock yourself into a place where you can't get out easily. Also, be mindful that real estate market is different from country to country. In the United States, I was upset because it took me like 3 weeks to sell my house. I'm literally upset because my neighbors were selling in 2 days, and I had just missed this window where people were buying a lot because it was school time. They wanted to be in my school system, and so they had already bought. And so I missed that window, not even realizing that I missed it. And so it took me longer. Now, when I moved here, my neighbors were trying to sell their house, and they've probably been trying to sell their house for 2 or 3 years. And that's just common. And if your house is at a certain price, it was a nice house for what we would consider in the United States. It had kind of United States, Canada standards, but it's here in Costa Rica. He's a Tico, which means he was from Costa Rica. And so he knew the risk of having this nice house. And he's had to be able to wait. And so if you buy a house and you're like, oh, this will be a good investment property. If I don't like it, I'll sell it. That may or may not be the case. And so you don't want to get yourself locked into places where it just doesn't make sense for you. I want you guys to click on the link below because it's very crucial if you're considering to move abroad that you do that right. And part of doing that right is actually being able to find your purpose and seek out what you want for your dream, especially if you're doing this to fire. You want to find a lower cost of living, and it's, okay, I get the best of both worlds. I get to have a lower cost of living. I get to live in some place that I enjoy. For me, it's 12 months of sun, and that's the reason why I'm trying to find these shady spots. I'm learning how to film outside more. I want you guys to click the link below, get the freebie, and it's going to help you on your journey. The next point is, honestly, for those who really are, again, focused on the wrong thing. The other thing that you want to do when you're looking at an area is to be able to focus on the community. And what I mean by that is you're in a place, you got a house, you've listened to what I said, it's not just beauty, but it's close to some things that you like and stuff like that. But you really, and this is the reason why you're home base, is you're going to have a chance to focus on the community. What is the community all about? What I mean by that, here in Gracia, because you can't just say Costa Rica, it's like saying United States. The community in New York is completely different from Las Vegas. Same thing, even though the country's small, or wherever you're gonna go, the country may be small compared to size, but where's the community all about? And here in Gracia, it's about really being clean. It's a family-oriented place where things are a little bit, I wouldn't say slow, but they're slower than if you were like in San Jose, which is the capital. And the idea of Gracia is a lot different from, let's say, your tourist town. When you're like at La Fortuna, which I do love La Fortuna, but you're going to get a different type of community where it's more about the tourists, aiding the tourists, being around for that. Even places like Jaco, and I know I'm throwing some stuff out if you're not even interested in Costa Rica, it's like, well, who are these places? Just go with the flow. Jaco is typically a party town, so their community is about being more active. You got to find out what you're looking for, because if you're in a party town and you're with your family and that's not what you were looking for, but you saw the beautiful house, it was near a beach and and it fit all the other criteria, but the community wasn't right for you, that can be, something that that can hurt. Or, honestly, a lesson learned, as a growth mindset, like, oh, well, we thought it would be nice, it's time to move. Again, that's why you're not locking yourself in. You want to be able to keep that in mind. Also, there are other places, again, if you're not looking at Costa Rica, that's fine. I'm just using it as an example. But there's other places like Guanacaste, which get a lot of people from the United States. Oh, go to Guanacaste, go to Guanacaste. Guanacaste is nice, but it's hot. And the other thing that I found looking at Guanacaste is they have a smaller subsection of schools. I have kids. And so I found that being in Central Valley was better options for schools. I had a lot more available to me. These are things that, when you're looking at the community, like, what is their focus on? Education? Is it schools? Is it geared towards the party goers, the people in their 20s, or families? You have to be able to take that in perspective and have a place that you think is going to actually suit not just the vacation time. Don't just think on the vacation time, because you can always drive to the vacation place or take a bus or hopefully not a plane, you're close enough, a train, whatever it is. What's going to be around you 90% of the time when you're going to be doing, you. And so the question for today is, are you actually ready to move to a different country? If so, where and when? And so why don't you put it in a comment below, and you can even say why that you're looking at that particular country. And so share with the group why your interest is to move to the country that you're considering. Now, the next point I've already mentioned, it is proximity to schools. And I'm going to say it in this particular way is when you are going to schools, just like your other conveniences, like grocery store, things like that, that's something you're going to be doing every day. You got kids, they're going every day. So your idea may be to live on the beach, but if the school that you want to go to is half an hour away, or even further, then you have balanced your vacation ideas over a priority. It would actually be better for you and your family. This is up to you, of course, but I would recommend being better to the things that are more important, like your kids. If something happened to your kids, you had to run to school because they're sick, do you really want to have to drive an hour back, get to what is more important? If you're going to put the scale on, is it the beach or is it the kids? I hope you guys are definitely saying the kids. And so, that is actually something that you have to consider. And also, when you're thinking about schools, is what are your kids like? What do you want them to be in? There were a lot of schools by the beaches, but they didn't necessarily, at least at the time, this is 4 years ago, they didn't all necessarily have, let's say, sports if you want them, or maybe a computer club, or maybe something like that. They were more related to like beach things. But if you don't want your kids to focus on how to surf, good for a hobby. What if you want your kids to focus on other type of things, be near other type of resources? Then you really want to live close, so that's not an inconvenience for you to get them things that they need and the things that you want for your kids. Proximity to school. So the last point is avoid putting yourself in a cage. And what I mean by that is your goal, the messages that I speak, the thing that I speak, is freedom. You don't want to lock yourself into a location that you don't have any freedom in. You don't want to run away from, okay, I feel like I'm stuck here in the United States and let me get out, and then lock yourself in because you have a habit that you haven't changed. What you want to avoid is putting yourself in a cage. And a lot of times I talk about freedom and I talk about financial freedom, and that's why I'm really not a fan of lean fire kind of conversations, because sometimes you put yourself in the cage like, I'm only going to spend this much money. Now, if your thought process is I'm only going to spend this much money because retirement, it's a transition. I'm going to free myself from the corporate world, but I'm going to start a business, then that's a different conversation. But honestly, I think that conversation comes better when you're like basic or fat firing, because it actually makes more sense of the freedom that you can go to. And so when you relocate, that freedom just is just important. When you lock yourself down with a whole bunch of expenses, or you lock yourself down in a house that you can't get out of, those things will actually put you in a cage and take away your choices. That is huge, especially if your choice is, I want to see a beach. I'm going to stay in a hotel because I'm going to stay at the beach. I'm going to go see this attraction, volcanoes and different things like that. No matter where you're at, and you're like, I can't because I'm too house heavy. So you don't want to actually put yourself in a cage, which might be a lovely house that you thought would be awesome. But if you can't keep your costs low, then it's going to lock you down and you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. You're not really going to be free. You're just going to be from another cage in another country. Don't do that. And so you guys, if you watched all this, if you watched this long and you put up with this funky light that's going on, I actually had a perfect spot and the wind blew and the sun changed. And you're going to see it's real. No fake backdrops here. I want you guys to comment and subscribe and click on the link below to actually be able to get the tools that you need to be able to relocate and actually understand that you need things like home bases, getting to know the language, taking time to get into the culture, and having a purpose of not just I'm running away from stress, but I'm running to this and I'm going to help out one day in this area. And so these are things that are just going to help you if you click the link below, and I will see you on the other side.